Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So today we are starting the lead up to Gaur Purnim. And the title of the lead up week towards Gaur Purnim, which is this time next week, next Tuesday, is How to be Freed from the Influence of Kali Yuga based on Sri Chaitanya's teachings. Did we get that? How to be freed from the influence of Kali Yuga based on Sri Chaitanya's teachings. Okay, so there's the influence of Kali Yuga. How can we be free from the influence of Kali Yuga? If you want to unpack the title of the lead-up week. So there's Kali Yuga. We all know what Kali Yuga is. Whoa! We live it every day. There's Kali Yuga, and the influence of it. How can we be freed from that influence based on Sri Chaitanya's teachings? So that's the lead-up week to Gaur Pranim. So we were given this opportunity, so I'm very, very grateful to share some thoughts on this theme. And I was thinking about which verse we could talk about, and then I just thought to myself, actually, the verse that really struck me the most when I first came to Krishna consciousness was Shikshashtakam text 4. That verse really got me. And the reason that verse really got me is because that verse reversed all my ideas and thoughts about what life was meant to be about. Everything in that text stripped away all my thoughts about what I'm meant to be doing with my life. So it's a very should I say, a verse which has a strong influence in my life, because that's the verse that struck me so deeply when I first came to spiritual life. So we'll just chant an invocation, maybe then go through the text, chant the Mangalacharan, and then have some discussion. Okay? Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya. So this is Shikshashtakam text number 4. We'll just chant it. If you know it or you have it on your Veda base, please just chant along. Nadanam najanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. Translation. Please repeat after me. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth. Nor do I desire beautiful women. Nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service. Birth after birth. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So with the blessings of the assembled devotees, we'll try and share some thoughts on this theme, how to be freed from the influence of Kali Yuga, based on Sri Chaitanya's teachings, and we'll base it on this verse, Shikshashtakam text 4. And we'll just recite it again. Nadanam najanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. So this verse, the reason it struck me so much when I first came to spirituality, when I first came to Krishna consciousness, and this is the first verse that came to mind when I was given the title, was, oh my God, this is the influence of Kali Yuga. When we think about what is the influence of Kali Yuga that we need to get freed from. And then the reason this verse struck me was because when I first came to spiritual life, all these things that Sri Chaitanya is teaching us to pray for. I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. And my whole life, I guess my whole teenage life and up to my when I first started coming to the temple around my late teens and early 20s, I just thought that's what life was about. Wealth, have a beautiful wife, and have lots of followers. That's what we're meant to be doing. Isn't that what life's all about? And then we hear this verse, and it's like, oh. And actually reading Srila Prabhupada's books, it totally reversed every thought I had about what life was meant to be about. I had a feeling that there was something wrong with the way I was leading my life. But then when you read it in the Shastra, when you read that this is what the Lord is praying for, or teaching us to pray for also, we begin to understand that actually what are we meant to want in life? And Bhavatad Bhakti Hetuki, what we need to want is, I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. So this is quite if you like, this is quite what we can call spiritual disruption. It's disrupting our way of life. It's disrupting what we think we're meant to be doing with our life. Okay, desiring to accumulate wealth. We go to school, we go to college, we go to university, and all of that is geared up. Get yourself a good job and accumulate lots of wealth. Accumulate lots of wealth. When you have lots and lots of wealth, you'll be able to attract many people towards you, where you can have many illicit relations. And now especially with the rise in social media, put everything you're doing on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and I don't know the other ones. X, is that the same thing? Twitter, yeah. I've only got YouTube and WhatsApp, and I find that takes up enough of my life. So I don't know. The other stuff, I think I don't know where I don't even think I'd get out of bed. So and all of these platforms are trying to encourage us to accumulate followers. Okay, how can we accumulate more and more followers? And then we seek validation through these external sources, like, oh, did someone give me a thumbs up? Did someone give me a heart? Did someone share what I've shared? And all of that becomes our source of fulfillment. Well, we think it's our source of fulfillment, but it's what we can say temporary relief from what's actually going on inside. And what's going on inside is something that this material world tries to distract us from so expertly. so much influence from what's the external world that do we have time to think about what's going on in my body? Are we thinking about what's going on in my mind? How am I going to integrate my body, mind and soul together so I can practice spiritual life in a wholesome and an integrative way? The material world is always trying to influence us to take us away from that. And Sri Chaitanya is teaching us, wealth, accumulating wealth, not a great idea. Desiring beautiful women, not a great idea. Wanting a number of followers, not a great idea. Wanting these things, not a great idea to practice our spiritual life. So why is Sri Chaitanya saying this? Because actually accumulating wealth, being too obsessed with relations with the opposite sex, and Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Bhagwan ki jai, Gaur Nitai Bhagwan ki jai, and accumulating followers, this will only distract us from our real purpose. And Sri Chaitanya showed this, Lord Chaitanya showed us that these things aren't so important. When King Pratraparuda wanted to meet the Lord, and he was a king who wanted to meet the Lord. He was a king that was a devotee. So he's a king and he wants to meet the Lord. And when he wants to meet the Lord, he's petitioning through different devotees. So Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they're speaking to Lord Chaitanya that this devotee, the king, he really wants to meet you. He really wants to see you. He really wants to have your darshan. But Lord Chaitanya says to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya that actually someone in the renounced order, Virakta Sannyasi Amara Raja Darashana, that the sannyasi, the one who's in the renounced order, he cannot meet a king. Stri Darshana Sama Vishera Bhakshana. He also can't meet a woman from the opposite sex because he's in the renounced order. In that time, being in the renounced order, it meant that and to propagate the mission he was propagating, he couldn't meet the king. He said, this is like drinking poison for me. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he's thinking, I really think you should meet the king. Because the king is a great devotee. He really loves you. He really wants to serve you. But Lord Chaitanya is like, no, I can't meet the king. He says to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Eche bata punarapi mukhe na anibe. Don't utter this request again from your mouth. Kaha yadi tabe amaya etana dekhibe. And if you ever do ask me this again, to meet the king, you won't ever see me again either. So it's like quite strict, It's like, firstly, I mean, you're not meeting the king, and now you're saying, I can't even ask you. But sometimes we can't, the Lord kind of had to make it clear. Like, I have 2 young daughters, and Papa, can I have ice cream? Papa, can I have ice cream? He's like, you just had one like 2 hours ago. Can I have an ice cream? Can I have an ice cream? And then it's like, okay, look, if you ask me this again, if you ask me this one more time, you're never having ice cream for the rest of the year. It's like, okay. I won't say again. I won't. Okay, Papa, I get it. I get the point. You mean business now. So Lord Chaitanya, he means business. Don't ask me this again. I'm not going to meet the king. And the king represents wealth. So the Lord is teaching us. Okay, look, he's nadanam, najanam, nasundaram. I do not have any desire to accumulate wealth. And he's showing us this because he's not influenced by the fact that the king is so wealthy, he's got so many followers, he's got all this opulence. If the king wanted to meet you tomorrow, be like, yeah, sure, come round, I'll come to you, Buckingham Palace, no problem, I'll come round. Because we get so enamored, oh my God, the king wants to meet me, the king wants to see me. But Lord Chaitanya showed us actually big deal. Big deal he's a king. I'm in the renounced order and I can't meet the king. So then Ramananda Roy, a minister, he approaches Lord Chaitanya and he says, he's telling Lord Chaitanya, this king, he's so kind, he's let me retire from my duties, he's still giving me a great pension, a great salary, and I don't have to worry about these things anymore. And by the way, my Lord, I just wish I had a fraction of the love that the king has for you. I wish I had even that much love. Still, Lord Chaitanya, unmoved, unshaken. No way. I'm not meeting the king. The king was heartbroken. He did this king when the king finds out, when Bhaktipurudha finds out that he can't meet Lord Chaitanya, he's just heartbroken. Like, seriously, what have I got to do? What's a man got to do? What have I got to do to meet Lord Chaitanya? What do I need to do to get his darshan? And he just didn't want to live. He just thought, I don't even want to live anymore. What's the point of living if I can't have darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He's just here and I can't have his darshan. The king was heartbroken. He didn't want to live. But then one devotee, Gopinath Acharya, he advised him, look, the devotees from Bengal are coming, you just do service. You just serve the devotees, and they're coming to Jagannath Puri, and when they come, you make good arrangements for them and for them to stay, and you just keep serving, And in this mood, the king understood that actually, whether I get darshan or whether I don't get darshan of the Lord, one thing that cannot stop is my seva bhav, my mood to serve. And for us, it's a great lesson because we have our Krishna conscious life, we have our spiritual life, and we have some expectation. We have some expectation, and our expectation may be that by 10 a.m. tomorrow, I should be a pure devotee. Something like that. Like all these desires for wealth, women, followers, all these desires to accumulate so many things. All of that will be gone, and actually all I want very soon is Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Hetu Kitva. That all I will want, birth after birth, is pure devotional service. That's all I'm ever going to want. And that's, and sometimes we're just wanting that to just speed up. We've got that expectation that it's going to happen soon. And then after some years in Krishna consciousness, it starts to feel like it ain't happening this life. Maybe next life. And Lord Chaitanya actually balances this for us. And he does this through the teachings of the king, that actually sometimes I'm going to withdraw myself. And when I withdraw myself, can you keep serving? Can you keep serving? Can you keep serving? Can you keep up your determination to have this connection and this relationship with me? Can you just keep that up? So the Lord will withdraw himself, like he did with King Bhaktipurudha. No, I'm not going to see him. And the king didn't just be like, okay, I don't want to see him either. Forget him. You don't want to see me, I'm the king. No, King Bhaktipurudha, with his humility, with his devotion, didn't matter what opulence he had, didn't matter how much wealth he had, how many followers he had. That didn't matter. He just kept going in his service. He kept going. On the Rath Yatra, he's the one sweeping the street. He just wanted to serve. He just wanted to serve. And then one fine day, after the Lord was resting, after doing so much ecstatic dancing, the Lord is resting, and the king approaches the Lord while he's resting, not dressed as a king, just dressed as a sadhu, as a devotee, and starts massaging the Lord's feet. And massaging the Lord's feet, he starts to sing the Gopi Geet. Tavakatamritam tapta jivanam. So he's just singing the Gopi Geet. And Lord Chaitanya, because he's just so ecstatic, so immersed in Radha Bhav, in the mood of Radharani, and hearing the Gopi Geet, he just embraces King Bhaktipurudha. He just embraces him. And King Bhaktipurudha gets his mercy finally. So the Lord balances this for us. He shows us that sometimes he'll withdraw himself. And we keep serving and we keep serving and we'll keep serving, and we'll get his embrace. We'll get what we've been longing for. We'll get that embrace that we had that expectation for when we first came along in spiritual life. And also maybe what we thought was not possible after some time, when we start to realize, oh my God, I've got so many anarthas. I've got so many anarthas. Will they ever go? Will they ever go? And yes, they will. Yes, they will go by the Lord's mercy. But all we can do is do our bit. Keep serving. Keep serving with that mood of devotion. Keep serving in that mood of humility. Not that I deserve something. I expect you to do this for me. Lord, my Lord, I've been chanting 16 rounds for this many years. You got to show up today. You got to sort this out. So the Lord is showing us that this wealth that the king had, I'm not interested in it. What I'm interested in is that humility, that devotion. And the Lord himself showed that humility all the time. When he met the sannyasi Prakashananda in Benares, he was so humble. The Lord just sat by. He was invited to this big assembly of sannyasis, and he just sat by the place that everyone washes their feet. And the Lord just sat there. Everyone was in this other room, and the Lord's just sitting where everyone's washing their feet. And the Prakashananda Saraswati is like, "Why are you sitting there?" And Lord Chaitanya is like, "Well, I belong to a lower class of sannyasi, so I'm just going to sit here." And the Lord's like, "But King, not the king, Prakashananda Saraswati, he's the leader of the Mayavadi sannyasi. He's like, no, don't sit there. Don't sit there." And the Lord just carries on sitting there in his humility, but he's just glowing. He's glowing and he's glowing. His effulgence is just glowing, and everyone gets attracted to him. So and they take him to the middle of the assembly. Just, no, sit with us. And then they ask him, "Well, why are you doing all this crazy stuff like dancing and chanting like a madman? You should study the Vedanta, study the scripture." And he's like, "No, but my spiritual master said, Murki tume." He told me that I'm a fool. And because I'm a fool, I don't know how to chant the Vedanta. I should just be japite. I should just be chanting the holy name. And he tells them that actually by chanting the holy name, I told my spiritual master that I'm chanting the holy name, and Korila Pagal, I'm going crazy, I'm going mad. And my spiritual master told me, "No problem, you just keep chanting. You keep going mad. This is good." So he's showing this humility. He's exhibiting this humility. The king Pratrapruda, when he's in that humble mood of service, that attracted Lord Chaitanya. The followers, the wealth, the opposite sex, that's not the one what's attracting the Lord. What's attracting the Lord is the humility. When Lord Chaitanya was Nimai Pandit, before he took sannyas, he was Nimai Pandit, and when he went to Gaya and he meets his spiritual master, and he becomes a devotee. But what he was doing in his Pandit days, we can say, he was teaching others he was teaching grammar. He was teaching the grammar, the Sanskrit grammar. But there was one Pandit, Keshav Kashmiri, who was very, very, you could say, expert in this Bengali Sanskrit grammar. And he became known as Digvijay, one who was always victorious in debate. And he's like going around trying to defeat everyone in debate, this Keshav Kashmiri. So he comes around he comes and sees Nimai Pandit and says to Nimai Pandit, "Okay, like, hey, you wanna spar? you wanna do a little debate on, sorry? Yeah, like a duel. Yeah, do you wanna do a little? Should we have a little debate, a little duel on this Sanskrit poetry and grammar?" And Keshav Kashmiri says to him, "Okay, so let's maybe, and so Lord Chaitanya says, "No, but I'm just like a young student. I'm a young boy. Kahan avi sabe shishu paduya navina. I'm a new student. Paduya navina, a new student at this. You're the expert." So he doesn't. When Keshav Kashmiri approaches the Lord doesn't straight in go for him and think, let me just put this guy in his place. With humility. Why? Because humility melts the heart. So with that humility, the Lord says to Keshav Kashmiri, "Look, I'm a young boy. I'm a new student at this. You're the expert. You teach me. You show me. So Keshav Kashmiri, he just comes out with these 100 verses glorifying Mother Ganga, like one after the other. It's like the Lord is hearing it all. The Lord's hearing it all, and the Lord glorifies. Wow, you know all these verses. You're amazing. By the way, was there any faults in any of your verses, or were they all just like amazing? And Keshav Kashmiri is like, look, man, I know everything. This was all perfect. There's no fault in anything that I did. Like, chill. Trust me. and Lord Chaitanya, he picked out one verse and showed some faults in that one verse. And Keshav Kashmiri, and he recited it in full. Out of these 100 verses, he recited one of the verse, and he said that there's these different faults in this verse. And Keshav Kashmiri is stunned. It's like, how I've just recited these 100 verses. How did you remember one of them and just say all of them? How did you do that? And Lord Chaitanya is like, well, I might not be very, I'm a new student, might not be that intelligent, but I'm a Shrutidhar. I can remember things and memorize it. Shrutidhar, I can hear it, Shrutidhar, and then memorize. I can hear it and memorize. And then Lord Chaitanya picks out some faults in that verse, and Keshav Kashmiri says, okay, what's the faults? And Lord Chaitanya explains some of the faults, and so one of them was that you've described Lord Shiva as Bhavani Bhartur. You've described Lord Shiva as the husband of Durga, but the way you've described Durga, Bhavani, means the wife of Lord Shiva. So what you're saying is the husband of the wife of Lord Shiva. But if you say the husband of the wife of Lord Shiva, that indicates, or that gives some sort of meaning that actually that Bhavani, that Durga has another husband that's not Lord Shiva. And Keshav Kashmiri is just like, whoa, how did he pick that one out? Where did he get that one from? And so after hearing the Lord, it's described, Sunya Prabhu Ravyakya Dvijaya Dvishmita, that this Digvijay is totally stunned. He's totally stunned. Because he cannot believe that someone has memorized his verse and that there could be anything wrong in any of his verses. One thing you've memorized, okay, great, you've got some intelligence, but you found something wrong, and then he wanted to respond, he wanted to say something, but it's described Stambita. His voice was choked up. His voice was choked up and he could not speak. He could not say a word. He's like, oh, how do I respond? So then he just says to Lord Chaitanya, look, where are you getting this from? And Lord Chaitanya says, look, in his humility, he doesn't say, got to tell you something, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything rests on me. Just a passing by incarnation in Kali Yuga. No, he just disguising myself as a devotee. No, he says to him, whatever I am saying, so this is the Lord Chaitanya saying to Keshav Kashmiri, whatever I am saying must be from Mother Saraswati. It's coming from Mother Saraswati. So Keshav Kashmiri, totally stunned. Lord Chaitanya, in his humility, saying, look, it's not me, it's coming from Mother Saraswati. And then the boys that were with Nimai Pandit, they start laughing at Keshav Kashmiri, like, got you. You thought you're all that. You thought you're all that, mate. My man got you. Our guy, Nimai Pandit, he got you. If you're with your mates and this kind of your friends, and someone's all arrogant and someone's all big-headed about what they know, and your person defeated them, you're going to be a bit like, And Lord Chaitanya stopped his followers from laughing. He said, don't laugh. Don't laugh at them. And he glorified the Pandit. He glorified Keshav Kashmiri. He said, look how, you are the expert. You are the expert. I'm just a student here. I'm just starting out. I'm just learning grammar. But you are the expert. And he glorifies him. And he says, how about we meet again tomorrow? Yeah, Pandit's like, okay, sure, let's meet again tomorrow. So that evening, Keshav Kashmiri, he goes back home, he takes rest, and in his dream, he sees Mother Saraswati. And this is Mother Saraswati that didn't allow him to speak when he wanted to say something back to the Lord. Stambita, he was stunned, he couldn't say something back. He felt like she stopped him saying something. This is the same Mother Saraswati that Lord Chaitanya said is the reason that he's able to speak something. So Keshav Kashmiri, he sees Mother Saraswati in his dream, and so excited he sees her in his dream. And she says to him, "Dear Keshav Kashmiri, this person, Nimai Pandit, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Oh, damn! I'm messing with the wrong guy, you know. So Keshav Kashmiri, the next day when he meets Lord Chaitanya, he approaches him in full humility. And again, it's that humility that attracts Lord Chaitanya. And in that humility, the Lord is attracted. And when the Lord is attracted in that humility, the Lord embraces him and releases him from all material bondage. And Keshav Kashmiri is embraced by Lord Chaitanya, doesn't have any more material bondage, and can let go of his pride and his arrogance that gets in the way of our spiritual progress. That's what gets in the way. We think we're something. Yeah, we're something. We are Jiva Swarup Hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. That's what we are. We are part and parcel of Krishna. And when he realizes that through the embrace of Lord Chaitanya, he's able to let go that actually this is what I want. This is what I want. I want the embrace of the Lord. King Patra Prudra, he just wanted the embrace of the Lord. All these things he had, big deal. Big deal I have this. Because what we have and what we don't have is... one is a result of our karma, and two, it's up to the Lord whether we can have them or not anyway. So ultimately, everything is coming from Krishna. What we have and what we don't have has been decided by Krishna. And when we come to spiritual life, Krishna personally intervenes in such a way that he designs our life, he designs our path so that we get what we need, we don't get what we don't need in terms of assets and liabilities. Sorry, I'm an accountant, so I talk like this. But all the things that are good for us and all the things that we see that are not good for us, the ones that are given to us, the things that are not, that we don't like, but has been given to us, has been specially given to us by Krishna. Like, he's letting it happen. He knows that you having this difficulty, you having this problem, you having this person criticizing you, or this person saying things about you, or this service being taken away from us, or this service being put on us and we can't get out of it because we desperately want to do something meaningful. And we're thinking, okay, I wanted to do something meaningful, but this, how did this come to me? But all of that has been given to us as a gift by the Lord. And the Lord is showing us, just carry on doing the service in a humble state of mind. That's the verse before. Text for Tinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sishna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sada Hari. That in a humble state of mind we can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So he's showing us through Patra Pruda, wealth, not a big deal. He's showing us through Keshav Kashmiri, I'm not interested in followers. You know, Keshav Kashmiri is going around trying to win debates here, there and everywhere to build up some sort of following. Lord Chaitanya defeats him, but Lord Chaitanya defeated him not to get any followers, but just to help Keshav Kashmiri. And his own followers, Lord Chaitanya's own followers, he told them, don't laugh at him. Don't laugh at him. He's a man of very strong intelligence. And the Lord, when he goes and to show us about Sundarim, the attraction, when the Lord is traveling in South India, when he's traveling in South India, he really gets attracted, or should we say really glorifies the two books, Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita. So he really shows his, if you like, his appreciation for these two books, and he considered them. Krishna Kaviraj Goswami describes it. He considered them to be valuable jewels, and he took them with him. He took this Brahma Samhita and Krishna Karnamrita with him. And if we think about Krishna Karnamrita, it's written by Bilva Mangal Thakur, written by Bilva Mangal Thakur, and we know the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman Gaurnitai Bhagwan Ki Jai. And we know the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur. He was seeing a prostitute every day called a Chintamani. And he was so attached to seeing this prostitute every day that even on the day that he was doing the final rites for his father, even on that day, Bilva Mangal Thakur was thinking, how can I get on with this so I can go see the prostitute Chintamani? He's like, how can I just quickly get on with this? You know? It's like, wow. So enamored by Chintamani. So what does Bilva Mangal Thakur do? He kind of gets on with this, just a funeral, it's just my dad, whatever. Gets on with that, and he goes, and Chintamani, she's living on the other side of the river, and he wants to go to the other side of the river, but there's a big storm, and when there's a big storm, there's no one to take him on the boat. So it's like, no problem, I'll just swim. No worries, I can just swim. So he starts swimming, and he starts swimming, and he gets a piece of wood. So he's thinking, okay, this piece of wood will help me. And while he's swimming, oh, it's not a piece of wood, this is a corpse. Ooh, never mind, I'll use the corpse. Get closer. Completely, it's just like completely taken over by lust. And just wanting the association of Chintamani. Chintamani, the prostitute, she's been seeing Bilva Mangal Thakur every day. But she's thinking today, his father's final rites, and there's a storm. That's not going to happen. He ain't coming today. But still, he gets there. He climbs up, and when he's climbing up, he thinks he's climbing up a rope. But what is it? It's a snake. It's a snake. He's climbing up, and then he finally sees her, and then he's knocking on the door, and then Chintamani opened the door, and she's like, "Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh my God, you came today." And he's thinking like, what a hero I am. Today was the day that my father, I've just done the final rites for my father. There's this big storm, there's no boat, I've just swam. This is how much I have feelings for you. And he's expecting her to kind of be like, oh, you are so sweet, you are so kind, you are so amazing, you did all of this just to come and meet me. Some romantic talks that he was expecting. And what does she say to him? She says, you did all of that just to enjoy with me. Imagine you had this much determination to serve the Lord. It's like, oh, right. He starts to think, it's like, oh yeah, all this determination, all that determination. We see the determination of Patraparudra. He didn't stop. He didn't stop when the Lord kept rejecting him. He didn't stop. And here Bilva Mangal Thakur, he didn't stop. But he didn't stop on his journey, but that wasn't for Krishna, that was for enjoyment. But when he meets the prostitute Chintamani, she says to him, all this determination, instead of using all this determination to enjoy your senses, this same determination, use it to satisfy Krishna, use it to love Krishna, use it to serve Krishna. And Bilva Mangal Thakur accepts this and sees Chintamani as his guru, my instructing guru. Wow, she's told me something prolific. So then he goes to Vrindavan, and when he goes to Vrindavan, he He's going with that determination, and then we hear that he starts to see he sees one attractive lady, a wife of a brahmana. So he starts to follow her, and then he starts to follow her. And when we notice this, don't we, in spiritual life, that sometimes the old desires, the old thoughts, they come back. Some song in your head that you haven't heard for years, and it's just like, oh my God, Michael Jackson, I haven't heard him for like 30 years. Where's that coming from? It's like, what's happening here? So sometimes these old thoughts, desires, feelings come back. So he's walking to Vrindavan, and we can also see it as the test of the Lord. And what happens? So he follows this brahmana's wife, and she goes back. She goes back home, and because her husband's there, so she thinks, okay, my husband's there, he'll sort him out, he'll look after me. So then the brahmana, sees Bilva Mangal Thakur, who's dressed as a renunciate, but even though he's dressed as a renunciate, he could see in Bilva Mangal Thakur's, we could say his aura, his face, you could just see in his appearance that he's disturbed. He's disturbed. Okay, so what's disturbing you? And Bilva Mangal Thakur, he just says, nothing much, but can I just embrace your wife? You what, mate? It's like, what to do with that kind of, but Bilva Mangal Thakur, he just like, oh, can I embrace your wife? So somehow or the other, the brahmana says to Bilva Mangal Thakur, okay, just wait some time, and obviously inspired in his heart by the Lord to carry out this part. So if we look at this as why did the brahmana say yes for his wife to embrace Bilva Mangal Thakur? We have to see we see the Shastra, and we see the scriptures from different layers, and from this layer we can see that actually there's something transcendental going on here. So the brahmana says to his wife, look, just make yourself look good and embrace this Bilva Mangal Thakur. So when Bilva Mangal Thakur sees the wife of the brahmana, and he sees her, and then straight away he remembers those words of Chintamani. He remembers those words of Chintamani, that if you're this determined to enjoy your senses, remember to use this determination to connect with Krishna. So he says after getting this realization, after getting this remembrance, he says to this brahmana's wife, look, okay, look, I don't want to approach you in this way, but can I just request one thing? You got these two nice hairpins on your hair, can I just have those hairpins? And the brahman and his wife's thinking, okay, phew, I don't have to hug this guy. I can just give these hairpins. So she gives the hairpins to Bilva Mangal Thakur, and he just rips open his eyes. He rips his eyes, and he takes off his eyes, because he says, my eyes is what's causing me disturbance. The lesson here is not to ask some Matajis for your eyes, for their hairpins, and rip out the eyes. The lesson here from Bilva Mangal Thakur is, what is it here, what's happening in my life that I can start to reject, that's unfavorable for my spiritual practice? See, Bhaktivedanta Thakur talks about surrender, and the two main things in surrender, or the doing things in surrender, is accepting what's favorable for our Krishna consciousness and rejecting what's unfavorable for our Krishna consciousness. When we hear the stories of the great saints, when we hear the Shastra, when we hear the scriptures, we hear the high-end ways of accepting Krishna's, accepting what's favorable and rejecting what's unfavorable. So for Bilva Mangal Thakur, he learned that his eyes are unfavorable for his spiritual life. And he had the capacity to know that he'll be very devotional, he'll be more devotional without his eyes. For us, we'll be less devotional without our eyes, because we can't see the deities. So so we have to think, so when we read the scripture, it's not about imitating, it's about following in the footsteps of the sadhus. And following in the footsteps means, what's the principle and how do I apply the principle in my life? And the principle is accepting what is favorable for our spiritual life and rejecting what's unfavorable in our spiritual life. And then Bilva Mangal Thakur, he goes on and writes Krishna Karnamrita, which Lord Chaitanya says, which Lord Chaitanya regards as one of the most valuable jewels. And this was his appreciation for Bilva Mangal Thakur. It shows us that no matter where we're from, whatever we've done, whatever our past, the Lord is always willing to give us His mercy. We can go from zero to hero. Look at Bilva Mangal Thakur, so attached to the prostitute, but look who he became. He became the person that wrote Krishna Karnamrita, that the Lord couldn't let go of Krishna Karnamrita and took it with him. This is what spiritual life, this is what Krishna consciousness has to offer us. It offers us the path of zero to hero. So how to be freed from Kali Yuga's influence, from Sri Chaitanya's teachings, and basing it on this verse, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, that actually the Lord is very pleased when we are not getting entangled with accumulating wealth, followers, or illicit relations. The Lord is very, very much attracted to our humility, and in that mood of humility, we'll be able to have the Lord's embrace, just like King Patraprudra, just like Keshav Kashmiri, just like Lord Chaitanya taking Krishna Karnamrita and holding the words or the poetry of Bilva Mangal Thakur to his heart, and then be able to actually Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Hetu Ki Tvai, that life after life we just desire to have pure devotional service. So thank you so much for your kind attention. Would anyone like to share any comments, any reflections, corrections, realizations from this class or these teachings, or the title, even the title, what it might mean for you, being freed from Kali Yuga, the influence of Kali Yuga through Sri Chaitanya's teachings? Hare Krishna. Anyone like to share anything? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I think you just pressed up. I think there's a button there.
Thank you for the lecture, wonderful lecture. As you mentioned, we should align our body, mind and soul. And I just assume chanting is the best way. Do you think any other way we can follow or we can do in that way to align all our body, sense and all these things?
Yeah, thank you so much. So we're talking about integrating the body, mind and soul, and what you said is that chanting seems the best way. Yeah, that's the best way. Chanting is the best way. But what we mean by integrating body, mind and soul is, if, for example, if you have, if you break your arm, you'll have to take care of your body. You'll have to take care of your arm. So what we mean is that to integrate body, mind and soul, do what it takes to make sure the body and mind is okay, so that you can chant better. If you chant Hare Krishna, but your chanting is disturbed because you've broken your arm and you're not going to the doctor to fix it or to get a sling, then actually that's going to, you in one sense you're rejecting what might be favorable for your spiritual life. But we want to reject what's unfavorable for spiritual life and accept what is favorable. So aligning body, mind and soul means, again, accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable, so that we can chant better, so that we can chant more attentively, and so that we can connect to Krishna in a more holistic way. Is that okay? Hare Krishna. Anyone else want to share anything? Okay, thank you very much. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Go Premanande. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Save this topic.